Now, all the things that happen behind the cameras is enough to start another program. But those aren't for me alone. I'll be the viewer. Nice to have you join us on this segment. Now, let's get into the next discussion now. The National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control has warned Nigerians to desist from using performance-enhancing substances known as aphrodisiacs to impress their partners. Now, NAFDAC insists that consumption of such substances could lead to stroke or even sudden death. NAFDAC Director General, Professor Oladeinde Ariyo, gave the admonition where she described the preponderance of performance-enhancing drugs, otherwise known as manpower in the local parlance in the Nigerian market. Now, according to Professor Ariyo, most of the performance-enhancing or enhancement drugs are not registered with NAFDAC and are smuggled into the country. Professor Ariyo stressed that many men have died using performance enhancement drugs. This is what we'll be talking about in the next couple of minutes. So, to make sense of this issue and dissect all of the sides of it, I have a public health physician here, Dr. Tuyi Mebawondu. Dr. Mebawondu, good morning.
Compliment of the season. Happy New Year.
Exactly.
I hope you are not using it.
I don't have to use that.
Okay, it's okay.
The point there is, a lot of people are naturally enhanced. So they don't, if you enhance it again, then you just... no, I said a lot of people. I said a lot of people. Anyway, thank you very much for joining us as well. Herbal Nutritionist, Oladeinde Ariyo. Thank you for coming.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Nice to see you again.
Nice to see you.
Second time around this week.
Yeah, exactly.
Only two, I'll see you next year.
All right. Now, let me start with you, Dr. Mebawondu. Let us break it down. We often, in fact, there are so many nicknames for these things. But talk to us basically, what constitutes this enhancements that we're talking about, substances?
Thank you. First and foremost, we must appreciate the fact that copulation, or sexual union in a way, it's critical to survival of the species anyhow. And then, not only for survival of the species, even for relationship, for bonding, for agreement, for celebration, a lot of things are involved.
Are tied to it.
But again, some actually also do it for business purposes. So the purpose of sexual copulation has actually, morphed and changed over a long time. Of course, aphrodisiacs, those are the things that can enhance the emotion, sustain erection, or even the enjoyment of sexual experience. Okay, Aphrodite, from Aphrodite, the Greek goddess of love, as it is. Now, from time immemorial, we've seen the evolution of those products, okay? It could be herbal products, it could be drinks, some oil, some all sorts of animals' parts are being used to enhance sexual experience, because the perception of a man is that I want to have shown that I'm a man, that I'm accepted. Even some women actually use those things. But why Nigeria is very important is the fact that a lot of those products enter the country. It's being hawked everywhere. And people just want to swallow those things without appreciating their precondition, the side effect of those products, and even some of the drugs they're using presently. In one of our teachings, we were taught, knowing your limits, you will live respected and die regretted. If you know your limits, you will live your life with respect. When you die, people say, oh, that's the man that knew his limits and never goes beyond this, and he lived well. So what has happened essentially is that few factors drive the use of these things. One, what I would call transactional sex, whereby you see a person who's actually elderly, meeting, a more energetic, either a man or a lady. Okay. So, the perspective that I want to perform, I want to be on top. I want this person to say, yes, I've done well. But let us appreciate the fact that, sexual union is not a competition. It is not a competition. Now, when they take some of these drugs, that no matter what you call it, there are side effects to whether herbal or non-herbal. There are side effects to them. The first thing is that you have organs of targets: the brain, the heart, the liver, the kidney. The critical organs that are being targeted by this. No wonder that to a large extent you see a lot of renal problems, kidney problems, liver problems nowadays, and even heart problems, even in younger generation, because consumption of this thing definitely give rise to effects. And it comes so easily, you see, by the roadsides, inside the bus, at the garage, with all sorts of varied names. And in reality, it's something that must be seriously considered and monitored.
Okay. All right. Now, Oladeinde, the point there is, you have also worked with a lot of people. Talk to us from the window of why people would like to get enhancement, to get into, he used the word copulation.
So many factors. So many factors predisposes, men. I mean, whereby they will think for them to deliver or to be appreciated as the he-man, they will need to induce their system, forgetting that man is a complete machine, already put together by the Almighty God, whether we like it or not.
Now, I like when he said it's a complete machine.
Yeah, it is a complete machine. But the things we eat or drink would have had cause to alter the state of wellness,
the effectiveness.
Okay. So when that now happens, not to disappoint yourself, not your partner now. Get it? It's not about the woman now. You want to show that you are a he-man, a six-pack man. But forgetting that there are some situations that will have happened to you, knowingly or unknowingly, known or unknown. I will start from infection. A lot of people have been infected through unprotected and unguarded sexual copulation. Now, some have undetected and untreated infections. Some have detected and improperly treated infections. Okay? And then, even after treatment, they do not understand that they have to go for an examination to confirm that the treatment actually works. Okay, so where that happens, they think they can still carry on. And no infection will hang on you without causing a damage. Depending on how long it stays in your body, it could have done incalculable damages. Okay? Then, of course, number 2, lifestyle. We're in an era where people smoke and they drink all manner of things. Of course, the dietary habits too, they go into it. We grew up eating organic foods. But daughter's generation, let me hit it.
He's doctor in that generation.
Let me hit it. Like the noodles generation.
Oh, I see.
Bread and butter generation. Right? So all of these things, they conspire to alter the biological and chemical state of their bodies and balancing. And of course, the role of testosterone. If you do not have enough in your system, I'm sure you can handle that better than me. Yeah, because that's his area. You will not deliver. Then, of course, the age factor. I will be killing myself if I want to compete with him.
So are you saying that he's an alpha machine?
No, this is not our first time of having this issue.
Okay. Yeah. I see.
So I'm giving him, it's my payback time now. If you assume, why not, if not? You look at yourself and you think the things you used to do 10, 20 years ago, you still can attempt, to do them. Of course, you may not be able to, and in the process, you'll be looking around for, the way to go. And that also is a problem. Right. Importantly, the ambience, the ambience where you want to copulate is also important. Some places are horrible, heat and all of that. If you create
the environmental factor,
it's also a factor. Yes, it's a factor, and of course, the connection with your partner is important. As a rule, there are some basics we teach people. Okay, it's not just about you've seen a woman, you undress her, and then you want to run along with it. Right. It goes beyond that. There must be connection, emotional, physical, and possibly spiritual.
All right. We'll come back to this connection because it's part of, because Doctor was also talking about relationship earlier on. Now, let's talk about the issue of age here. Oladeinde has said that as one gets older, from what I deduce from what he's saying, as you get older, the capacity to be at the top of your game, to deliver in that might also be reducing. But we've heard people even say, our grandfather in the village always said sometimes that nobody retires from copulating exercise, as the case may be. So talk to us from that. Anyway, that's a joke anyway, but talk to us from that perspective. But because these are the things that guide the way one reasons towards these things.
Let's be fair. Nature has a way of winding you down. Nature will give you your peak and give you your low downs. Okay? And then in this kind of environment, because essentially, what do you need to have an experience? First and foremost, I appreciate that it's not a competition. It's just for us to further appreciate ourselves or plan towards procreation or do something for whatever it is. But anyhow it is, it has never been a competition. Okay? Secondly, you need a good mind. It's a mindset. Okay? Because a mindset, because what you see, the sight, sound, and scent.
Oh.
You know? Besides what you see,
sight,
sound. The sound is the speech and scent.
And scent. Okay.
Yes. Okay. You know, the sound is the speech. Baby, you're looking great. This and that. That and that. You know, that's the sound. And then the scent is actually the smell. You know, the environment and all those things. You know, you need a good heart. Your heart will be functioning well. If you have compromise in your blood system, in your heart, ability of your heart to pump. Okay, that is, you're hypertensive, you have heart problem, because it is actually a lot of energy you are going to dispense. By the time you peak, and it's a lot of energy. The heart rate will increase. If the heart is not optimal, you might run into trouble if you try to stimulate it with any of those aphrodisiacs. You know, you need that.
And is that when we hear of people dying from?
Yeah, indeed, where they have to be all sorts of labels to read. Okay. And then you need a good weight, you know, because you see, if you are obese, you know that you'll be having challenge. If you are not used to exercise regularly, you know, and you are just a sedentary person, and you want to go and do 3 hours, you are going to run into trouble. Okay, so that was why I said that knowing your limit is key. Now, as you age, the function of the heart starts decreasing. If you have a vascular problem, you know, like let's say, the vascular diseases and all those things, the ability of the blood to flow into your organ and keep it strong will be minimized. So nature also knows that if you are getting older, nature does not want you to produce, because you might produce abnormality. So nature has a way of actually winding you down. Listen, guy, you can do 2 hours before, you can do every day before. Now, your body will actually tell you that you can only do once in a week, and then even that one is just 10 minutes. Your body will tell you outright. Now, when you now want to extend and look at everybody and not learn contentment and feel that this must be touched, that must be touched, then you want to say, I want to show this person. You are not knowing your limits.
Okay.
You are not knowing your limits.
Okay.
So, you know, so the diet, which he mentioned, actually is important. But as you age, nature is also trying to wind you down. And so that, please, guys,
sending signals to
go
you.
back, be preparing to exit. This is not your game again.
It's all right. We're handing it over the baton to other.
Then you hand over to.
All right. Let me speak to us from the window of that feeling of I want to impress. We've heard where, you know, the opposite, the partners, other partners make, you know, throw comments here and there saying like he's not man enough. And what does that do really that makes someone want to impress?
It's an illusion. Okay,
it's an illusion.
It's an illusion. Okay. What is satisfaction? Right? Copulation is a process. It starts from romancing, touching, and all of that.
Right. Let's keep the words.
And ends at the last bus stop. Okay? Now that you are satisfied, like I told you, it's an illusion. It can't be measured. to say, oh, I got 90 over 100. Like you said, the capacity of your entire system to deliver is all about it. Now, if you have a degenerative disease, like if you're diabetic or hypertensive, my brother, those are two powerful limitations. Okay? And the moment you know you have those ones, you better nurture yourself back to good health before you want to start an Olympic competition, which has no medal. Of course, your state of well-being is health mind. And I said, for instance, if you are broke or you've lost your job, no matter how virile you may think you are, when you remember that after this show, I have no food at home. School fees. That one is even cigar. I have no food to even eat, you know. And then your well-being. Most of us don't take care of ourselves, and we are not, in that sense, well. We just manage to go. Some people will not sleep well. They will work all day, and some who are into sedentary engagement, they will sit like Mike. Will sit for 2-3 hours. You know, some
I do a lot of exercise after sitting down here. So
some sit for much longer, and they won't take those into consideration. I work. I do a lot of walking. When I came here on Wednesday, I trailed from the gate to this place on purpose, and it's a regular thing for me. Again, we've tried to teach people how to live right. If you live right by eating right, you will be in good form. But one thing must always be there. Don't ever see it as a competition. Now, women also, don't let's put this on men. There's a version that they also engage in. You know, some take tighteners. You know what I mean? Others also take stuff that will increase their own libido and give them higher arousal. Those things,
they're all dangerous. So long as they stimulate beyond the.
Exactly.
But let's talk about the issue of habits and diet and all of that. He mentioned, he touched some of those things earlier on, but how do those things impact one to the level where you can't perform what you need to perform, and then you need an enhancer generally? How does bad food and bad diet translate to that?
Indeed, because you see, if you take the commonest thing that people tend to take in this regard is actually, alcohol. Alcohol actually, reduces the copulation experience. I mean, people don't know, but it has an initial stimulating effect, but after that, for a long time, it reduces a lot of things. It works through many pathways, directly on the brain, directly on the heart, directly on the liver. Okay, then smoking actually will cause challenges for the arteries, okay, which are needed, to be in optimal functionality for a man or a woman to enjoy copulation. Of course, there are chronic diseases like he mentioned, diabetes, hypertension. They're all there. So now, what are these your habits that can then further reduce you, and then you are now driving to say, okay, let me enhance myself? Are you living a sedentary life? So again, you have to get up there and do some walking and do some exercise. Secondly, are you a smoker? You drink a lot. You have to actually cut back on those things. What kind of food are you eating? They're very essential. Are you obese? You have to cut down your weight. Then secondly, like I said, you have to know your limit. It's not a competition. Know your limit, and then don't push yourself over unnecessarily, because your body will tell you. Because if you start using a enhancing drug, the effect on the brain, you can have convulsion, you can have hallucination, you can get tired,
and become even dizzy.
Yes, the heart can start overworking. You can have heart attack. You can have a stroke. Based on it, it can hit your the kidney, and the kidney function will start deteriorating. I've seen young men that are on dialysis because they took a drug or whatever. You don't even know the combination of what is there. Your liver will be compromised, and then for what purpose? Because of how many seconds or how many minutes? So it is essential for education to be taken to the grassroots and let people understand the danger they are causing to the health system, because the health system cannot take too many renal failure. It cannot take too many kidney failure, liver problem and heart problem. So it is important for that we start pushing this education and go after those people hawking those materials. It's not just, in fact, what is being hawked is not just herbal products alone, which Mr. Ariyo is making, but also even medical drugs, tablets that you don't even know the content. Some even take overdose of those things, and then they will have serious headache and they'll be struggling over what now? So Mr. Ariyo should actually
because they want to perform. Now let's talk about the issue of herbs here.
Okay.
The assumption is that the orthodox medicines or drugs or whatever the thing is, you know, have some chemicals here and there. I'm just talking about the assumption. And then the assumption too is that when you're talking about herbs, they are natural. They are leaves, back of a tree or back of whatever the thing is, seeds and so on. So since they are natural, they are okay. So you can talk to us from that. Talk to us from that window.
Okay.
Where people have the assumption that,
you see, it's one thing that I tell people deliberately. I don't use roots in producing herbal solutions. Why? The root of a tree or any plant is the oldest part of that tree.
okay,
Now, chances are every other thing coming from above will have settled down in the roots and may have been toxic. Okay, it's that danger is there. But what do you have? People harvest the root, put it in what do you call this thing? Ethanol. Okay, put it in ethanol, and then they said, you know, they are taking it deeper. But for me, we advise people it's best to eat right.
Okay.
If you take the right quantity of green vegetables and fruits, drink water adequately, you are most likely to survive. But there's another danger. But I've seen a man that took a tablet like that, and then it became turgid. That after several hours, okay, it could not come down.
yeah. And that's also dangerous.
That one is equally dangerous.
All right, we have to wrap up here, but what we'll do is there are so many aspects when it comes to advising the people on what to do and how to do it. So as we cross into the new year, we'll fix another time for us to talk more on this.
That will be in the new year.
In the new year.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Oladeinde Ariyo.
My pleasure. It's a terrain.
Thank
I
you.
enjoy it.
I know. From all the lectures you're giving. And Dr. Tuyi Mebawondu,
thank you for coming.
Thank you so much.
Know your limits, sir.
Yeah,
Exactly.
All right, this is where we wrap up on the last edition of TVC Breakfast for the year 2021. Thank you for keeping faith with us all the while. Have a great day ahead as we cross into 2022. See you next week. Bye now.